Hey kiddos, this is James, the non-professional, and today we're going to be drawing Scrooge McDuck. Now, as I said earlier, you have 4 stages. You have roughs, which is a really rough idea of what the drawing is. You have lines, which is a clear picture of what the drawing is going to be. You have inks, which is the definitive picture of what the drawing is going to be, and then you have colors. So keep your pencils loose and just have fun with it. Just draw simple shapes on the screen and put them together to create the basic idea of what this picture is going to look like. Circle for the head, circle for the belly, oblong shape for the body, cylinders for the arms, and weird triangle sort of shapes for the feet, for the webbed feet that he's got there. Now keep it loose and keep it fun. All right, so the reason why I chose Scrooge McDuck is because when I was a kid, I used to watch this show fanatically. I mean, I was watching this show way up into my teens. I remember going to the video store and renting the movie, the DuckTales movie. And I had to sneak it into my house past my friends because I was 13, 14 years old, still watching this show. But Scrooge was always my favorite because you had, your Huey, Dewey, and Louie, your Launchpad, and Gizmo Duck. Gizmo was pretty cool. And then you had your villains like the Beetle Boys and the Beagle Boys and Magica, but the star of the show was always Scrooge. He was the sort of Indiana Jones, the one who led all the adventures, the one who didn't let age and anything stop him from enjoying life, enjoying adventure. So that's why I chose him, and he's always been my favorite. Even my boys watch the new DuckTales, and I like the new DuckTales, and still Scrooge is still the best character to watch on that show. So anyways, we're in the stage of drawing called lines now, and so let's keep our pencils tight. Let's pin down more definitive lines, and again, you're going to want definitive lines because you want to make sure that the person who inks after you knows exactly where you want things to be, or you want to know where you want things to be when you actually pin down, or when you actually put down the heavy black lines for inks. So roughs are basically you just putting together these basic shapes, and then pencils are you actually putting skin on the shapes. Circles for the eyes. He has these tiny little glasses. I don't know how he sees out of those things. It's kind of weird. And of course, like every rich person, or old school rich person, you need a top hat and a cane and a handful of money. Those are coins, by the way, but that'll come out in the colors, you'll see. Now I have to have him looking at the money because one thing that Scrooge McDuck loves is money. He has this sort of, if you don't watch the show, he has this money bin. It's like this gigantic high-rise building filled with gold coins, and he's got a little diving board at the edge of the door going into the bin, and he just he puts on this old school bathing suit, and he dives into the money and just swims around. Physically impossible, but pretty funny. Characteristic of who Scrooge McDuck really was. All right, so now we're in the inks stage, and this is where your lines have to be really, really tight. Because once this is it. This is the final product before the colors come in. And again, you want to draw sweeping lines. Don't go really, really slow. Just make sure your pen just sort of glides across the page. You get better lines that way, cleaner lines. Stack of money in his hands. All right, circles for the eyes. Don't be afraid to use stencils, guys. That's what I used here in order to make perfect circles. It actually is really hard to make, perfect circles. So if you got stencils or rulers that you can use to create circles, man, just use it. Don't be too proud to use tools to make a picture look better. Top hat, of course, and of course his cane. Now, I'm going to get into colors here. Now I did break my own rule. I just went ahead and just colored in between. But what you generally want to do is you want to color the outsides first and then color the insides in order to stay inside the lines. And I didn't do that this time, but that's generally what you want to do. I did that in the last video that I presented. In the original Scrooge McDuck, he had a blue coat with red trim. They changed it up for the new one. Alright, so let's finish up with yellow for his beak and his feet. And so you see there I did the outlines first, and then I colored all the white space in between. Now I'm doing the off-white thing again as I did with Daisy Duck. Just to have some contrast between, his feathers in the background. I'm not ashamed to say that I still like the show. I'm older, have a little bit less pride, and I sit down with my kids and watch it. At least then I have an excuse to watch it this time because, I could just say, hey, my kids are watching it, and I was spending time with them. But I do enjoy the show. The new one is actually pretty good. Always remember your 3 P's: patience, persistence, perseverance. That's how you grow.